Can we talk about what OnlyFans does to society? Because, you know, we were talking about this downstairs like a couple days ago. It's basically all of these young women are deciding that they want to be prostitutes. It's just like it's like a digital version of it, but it's basically the same thing. Men can subscribe to pay you money in exchange for this behavior. And there was this clip that's going viral right now. I think Clown World reposted it from the Whatever podcast, where a woman says that she was hooking up with a guy just to break his heart.
Oh, I just watched that again today.
Right?
Yeah, and then you know, the dude from Whatever is like, she says her hobby is to humble men, and he's like, and someone says you're a stripper.
Yeah, he says it.
Yeah, and then she's like, yeah, but I take their money, and it's like, no, listen. I feel like a lot of what we're talking about, what you're describing with dudes who have like addictions, porn addictions, and you mentioning like women getting run through or whatever, and then OnlyFans and stripping, is that people are doing things that are genuinely detrimental across the board throughout society, not just related to dating.
Yeah.
And there are people who don't want to feel bad about it because misery loves company.
Yep.
So they tell everybody what you're doing is totally fine. Keep doing it, even though it's really bad. And the obvious example, the actual visible example is morbid obesity. Like, we know that if you are eating and gorging yourself, you will die sooner. And we don't want that. We want you to live a long, healthy life. But the people who enjoy eating hot fudge sundaes all day, every day, don't want to stop. They're addicted. So instead of accepting and admitting to themselves they have a problem, they seek out validation from other people who are addicted, creating a society of people who are engaging in extremely detrimental behaviors across the board, which brings me back to OnlyFans. I've met women who have said they've tried it and they gave up because they weren't making money. And now they have a bunch of porn online. It's everywhere. They were like, people stole the videos, people recorded the videos, people did a whole bunch of stuff, and they made like $17 and that was it. And that, there you are, you're a prostitute forever. Never, you can never change it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what the average amount of money is for a woman that goes on OnlyFans, but it's not a lot.
I thought it was like $20 or something.
Yeah, it's not. I don't remember what it is, but I remember thinking like, wow, that's such a low payout.
Well, and it's also
why
sad that any amount is enough for someone to do that in this culture. Like,
I think, Seamus, women and men are very, very different.
Yeah.
And it is sad, but consider there's tons of stories of women quitting their jobs to become prostitutes.
Or like marrying into money. I mean, it's basically a similar kind of thing. If you don't love the guy.
Sure, gold digging, but it's still different to marry someone, like to enter into a binding contract. Granted, now with no fault divorce, it is kind of meaningless. It used to be like you got married, you were there till the dude died, and then okay,
Al
I guess.
Pacino's like 90, he's got a 9-year-old wife or something.
And she's pregnant?
Yep.
Man.
Wild. Oh, you know, in defense of OnlyFans, I think it was Eva Lovia was talking about this because she did it. YouPorn, in the porn industry, girls, you can't guarantee that they're not 18. In the porn industry, it's very difficult to vet the process. So there's a lot of child porn that gets through in that system. Whereas on OnlyFans, it's vetted 100%. So you know everything on there is legal and above board.
I'm not opposed to porn generally. Like, I'm fairly libertarian. People can do their thing. My issue is there is a social trend among many women. There's like a story of like a nurse. Like, I was a nurse making $50,000 a year and I quit. Now I make $200 doing porn. Like, Is this a good thing? I don't think it is. Like, I don't know. Maybe I should start reading some more books by sex positive feminists.
No, that is the last thing that you should do. That is the last thing. Pearl, get him.
I think women lie too about how much they make, because I went on the Whatever podcast and there was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 girls that said they made over $20K a month. And I ran the numbers and it was like less than 2,000 people or 3,000 people in the US make the number of like, make the money they're saying they make. I'm like, what are the odds they're all on one show? I think there's some incentive to lie about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's also a fair point,
Fake
right?
it till you make it.
And it's a sad thing because a person might be embarrassed.
How embarrassing would that be? Oh my gosh. You put your body on the internet and you get 10 buyers.
Well,
no, but no. This is the reality of it.
Yeah.
So there are a few people I know. I know one woman who did cam girl stuff, and she literally thought that she would be making. She see these stories. Here's the crazy thing: these stories encourage more women to do it, and it never works. So you get these women that go on these shows and say, I'm making $20K a month, and they're not. And then I have a friend who's like, I'm going to try doing it. And I'm like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that. It's not going to work out. And then what did she say? She said all it was people sending messages saying, please post for free. Please post for free. I want a free sample. And then she made like $17 and was like, this is nuts. Like there's no money here. But now everything's out there.
Well, you go ahead.
Well, and the girl on the show, I looked at her OnlyFans. I mean, not like that. But, I just wanted to see how many subscribers she had, and there was like no premium content. So I was like, where are you making? Because she said she made $50K a month.
So
I'm like,
it's just not true.
Well, no, I was thinking it could be like prostitution. That was my thought.
Like overt.
So it's
I think OnlyFans is prostitution.
yeah.
Well,
sort of,
but I was thinking like if they don't make it through there, maybe they go through.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very sad thing because you could also imagine someone being embarrassed about that, not admitting they're not making any money, and then what they're saying to make themselves sound impressive convinces more young women to do the same thing that they're doing. So maybe they're making $50,
or they're taking it off the books.
Like again, no amount makes that worth it, but that is really sad.
Well, I got good news though. With AI technology, all of this industry will be wiped out. Wiped out clean. All these women, there will not be women who are making a living doing this anymore. It's going to be a bunch of dudes, and they're going to be going to porn.ai or whatever. I don't even know that exists.
Probably real.
And they're
right
going to
now.
be like, render me a video of like two guys and a chick, and then it's going to render the video, and they're going to upload it and charge $5 for it. But then what's going to happen is every person in the world will just buy a subscription to the porn AI bot and just tell it whatever they want.
Yep.
And so then women will be like, these women who are doing it now are going to be like, I can't make any money doing it anymore.
Dude, porn has already caused so many problems for society. AI porn is just going to be unbearable.
Dude,
No one's gonna leave
people
their
are going to go
house.
insane.
You'll
They're
be able
gonna
to
go
change it in
completely
real
insane.
time. You'll be watching. You'll be like faster, slower, harder.
Put an ent in there and Gollum.
A deer walks in the room.
But that is the thing. Like you're joking, but it's just going to become more and more depraved because people won't be able to do anything with it.
I want to see Gollum and Frodo with Erwin. What's her name?
You put the one cock ring. I'm sorry, did I?
I have a question. Do you think with the growing rise of sexless men, that porn is actually helpful to society because they're not then aggressive?
Maybe.
Because that typically
No.
happens.
I think wasn't that a conspiracy theory?
And also
Like-
with do you think it keeps together sexless marriages?
So I would say that if it's a crutch to lean on, it actually causes far more problems than it solves. I think that the warped understanding of sex that we have in the first place that allows for porn to be not only legal but so prolific is the same corrupt set of sexual morals that allows for things like no fault divorce and for these sexless marriages to happen. So I think it's all one part of the same corrupt infrastructure, and we just have to do away with all of it.
I think women care substantially more about what other women think of them.
Oh yeah.
And so that's a big component of all of this when it comes to marriages, when it comes to people who are upset. There, and maybe it's just because of what I see in TVs and movie and what I hear from other people, who are influenced by TVs and movie. But it seems so often there's many stories of women who are in a relationship with the husband, and then they're talking to their other woman friend, and they say, "Here's the thing, my husband," and they go, "Oh no, oh that's so bad," and then they're like, "Oh no," and now I feel bad about it.
You're absolutely right. I've talked to so many, and that's why the trad cons will come in and be like, "Oh, just find the right girl. She won't do any of the divorce stuff. You won't be in a sexless marriage. Just find the right girl." But the thing is, women are so easily influenced. I'll have guys for the divorce documentary. They'll have a girl. She had all the typical boxes checked that you would want in a wife, and then she gets in the wrong group of friends, and then she just divorces her husband, takes the kids, takes half, and just ruins this man's life.
Well, divorce is contagious, right?
Yeah.
We know that if you have a friend who's divorced, you're more likely to get divorced. I would say that it's really important. In our modern time, we have this very atomized vision of what family should be. You just have two people living in a house together with their children, no extended family nearby, and you're also not part of a community that has the same values as you. I would say if somebody wants to live a traditional life, it's not enough to find one other traditional person, right? You probably want to be surrounded by people in a community that is more traditional, where it would be an absolute scandal if you ended up getting divorced.
Well, I think that's going to be harder and harder with media.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, I just think things won't really change until they change the laws. That's my personal opinion.
I think there's truth, and it's so difficult
at
because
least 50-50 custody would be so like where, and maybe like something to protect men from not getting absolutely wrecked with like child support, spousal
Well,
support.
we should just get rid of no fault divorce.
agreed.
I banish it.
Listen.
I'd ban birth control too.
This is what
Based. Oh my gosh.
Listen.
Yes.
And I just take away, repeal the 19th.
This is what feminists are arguing. When we did a segment on no fault divorce, and then they started ragging on us, and they gave Seamus's quote to Ian.
It was one of my best quotes ever. They gave it to Ian Crossland.
Crossland.
Even Crossland. Even
So
Crossland
listen.
got a good quote. No, I didn't.
What they're arguing is that marriage is now better because women and men both of them can just leave whenever they want.
That's what makes a
But
marriage better.
that's literally not marriage. Yeah. So my point is, okay, fine. Here's what I want to say to all of those feminists. Whatever it is you have now, let's keep it exactly the way it is, but we'll create something called super marriage. And if after you're married, you decide to enter a super marriage, now you can't get divorced without a valid reason. Problem solved.
Yeah. I mean, look, I agree with you that we need to end no fault divorce. I said this is one of the things that Jezebel was so horrified by, that they quoted it and gave the quote to Ian Crossland. But people talk about how many marriages fail, and if we removed no fault divorce, so many people would be stuck in these marriages. All right, what they don't consider is that people are less cautious about who they choose to marry because divorce is an option, and also because we live in a culture where people do have sex before they're married. They end up being blinded by the sex. They don't evaluate the person objectively. They end up becoming bonded by all the chemical reactions that happen in their brain when they have sex with somebody. And so you end up making really bad decisions. And people say, well, if we change the cultural paradigm, what about all these people who made these bad decisions? There's going to be fewer of them. There will be fewer people making those kinds of decisions.
I was going to answer your question about porn, and if it's because what I think it is doing is, and I'd love to talk more about no fault divorce too. It burns my mind almost every day. That I think it is helping young people get their aggression out. Maybe it's winding tighter and tighter and tighter until it explodes. But a lot of times, young sexless men, they just get put into the military to go kill, and I'm not seeing that now. I mean, it's drastic in the other direction. You might argue that nobody or hardly anybody wants to go fight. So maybe it's completely depleted the testosterone of the youth.
Maybe we need enforced monogamy.
Actually, I have another question. So the more women have been in charge of their own mate selection, the more partners we've had. So is there something about women that's actually not monogamous?
Well, no, because I think what you're touching, I mean, those things are correlated, right? So that's correlated with the advent of reliable methods of artificial contraceptive. And even when you had arranged...
It started before, like the birth rate started to decline before it actually, like, because a lot of people think it was the 60s, but it's actually been declining since the 1800s. And in 1920, like we do see a dip in the birth rate. And like they attribute that to women like living in an apartment outside, like by herself, where before she would go straight from like her parents' house to her husband's house.
Oh, wow.
So it's interesting, like when you think about it, like it did, like women like then began to have more partners sexually. So it's like, it seems like throughout history, like they've just been trying to like keep women from like not to be whores.
So you're saying that women shouldn't be allowed to own property?
Do I actually have never thought about that question?
The answer is no, by the way.
Maybe.
I think
I like it. I don't know. I haven't thought about it, but
I think that what's been pretty well understood by basically every culture through all of history is like men are going to try to have sex, right? Men are going to try to persuade women to have sex with them. And so societies have understood that we need to get women to be really good at saying no to this. Or else everyone's just going to be having sex outside of marriage. You're going to have a lot of illegitimate children, a lot of infanticide and abortion, which is what ended up happening. That's actually not hyperbolic. If you look at ancient Rome, the more sexually licentious people came, the more infanticide there was. I mean, it's a reality.
Do you think
I want to hit that point?
Do you think it would be better for you, or just for women in general, to have like 3 kids with 3 different phenomenal dudes, or 3 kids with 1 guy?
I would say 3 kids with 1 guy.
Then
I guess you have to, if you think about it from like a gene perspective, you probably get better like quality genes. I'd imagine if you said they're like high, but like for a society, no, like one.
That's like saying let me try 3 different guys because one of the kids will succeed, instead of being like let's just have kids together and raise them.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm like I guess they could say that.
I want to jump to this.
A good man's hard to find. You're gonna find 3, and then they're all gonna be with the same woman. It's ridiculous.
Well, they're not good guys then.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.